take a look at this. I believe that's Galveston Bay. They've made these little concrete walls, little waves, like waves in a beach. Teichman Road, it takes the back way into Galveston towards the east end of the town, which is where a lot of my memories are. So I'm gonna actually take this exit and get there. You'll be able to see my stuff, and then I'll take you to the Seawall so you can see the beach. But there you go. See if you can see past these. Got all the boats and the little marinas. When Hurricane Ike came through here, a lot of the boats were on this highway. Yeah, Hurricane Ike, it was a Category 2 hurricane, so it wasn't that bad, but there was such a large, forget the term they use, for flooding. So it was really bad. Boats, like I said, floated up, and then surges, I guess is what they called it. But boats were on the highway. They were everywhere. It just was devastating. Floods all throughout. Houses all throughout were flooded. There's Galveston Daily News. That is the newspaper for Galveston. A little bit about Galveston. It is a port now and has been for a while now, if you don't already know, for cruise lines. So the Carnival cruise lines, I think there's maybe 2 or 3 cruise ships that dock in and out of there. There's the cruise ship. I went on a cruise once in my life, and it was actually out of Galveston. So there you go. There's the cruise ship. There's a sulfur plant. And it's exactly that. It's sulfur. I don't know what they do with it, if they process it, they make matches out of it. Seriously, don't really know, but I do remember when I was younger, my brother worked at the sulfur plant, and he smelled horrible. Oh my God, he smelled like rotten eggs. It was so bad. But you could see it from here because it was like this bright yellow chunk or mountain of sulfur. And I don't think you really smell it when you drive by it, but I know, oh my God, his clothes smelled horrible. There it is. Do you see the yellow in the background? All that yellow, that's the sulfur plant. Pretty cool. About 2 years now maybe. This little ledge right here that's green, you'll see those 2 little van things. This used to be some sort of a loading dock, and one day I was with my daughter and I just rode up. I've always drove by here and always wanted to drive up the ramp. This was actually open, and I drove up the ramp all along that to the other side. I felt like such a rebel. Are you doing it? Go. I'm going. Oh, I hope there's no spikes here. Okay, this is awesome. I've always wanted to do this. And finally, 5 miles an hour.
Oh, that truck better move.
Whoa! Okay. Yeah. Oh! Okay. Do you want to see? Okay. It's stupid, I know, but it's kind of cool because it's something I always wanted to do, and now they've got a fence and they're using it for parking. You see all this parking here is for the cruise ships. So right here, this is the grain elevator. They process grain here. I remember as a kid, we all felt a big shake and a loud boom, and it was the earth shaking because the grain elevator exploded. I guess grain can be pretty explosive, so that's a little fact. I believe this is about where the Strand starts, and the Strand is kind of an old street in Galveston with a lot of historical buildings, and it's a hot spot for people to go to and just sightsee a little bit. It's called the Strand, very commonly known. There's a railroad museum. When I was a kid, I used to go pretend that I was a tour guide for the railroad museum, because that was just a cool job that people would have. This is the Strand. Look at these buildings and how cool this is. You see that? Lots of historical buildings here. So neat. And coming up on the right, I'll show you, there's a Taffy factory. If I could just park and go in, I would, just so you could see it, but I'm not going to. It's called La King's. You can see it says La King's Confectionary. Inside of it, they actually make taffy, and it's got old wood floors. Beautiful, beautiful. They sell ice cream that they make. I don't know if they make the ice cream, but it's really neat. It's just really neat. This is just kind of a neat part of Galveston. But they have Mardi Gras down here every year, and they have Dickens on the Strand. They dress up in those outfits. When I was a kid, we used to sell pretzels, and other people would sell like nuts, roasted nuts, and I just remember going around going, hot pretzels. See how cool this is? They have a lot of shops. Some of it's beach related. You know, it's just a kind of a hodgepodge of things. How cool is it? So it gives you an idea of what is here and what Galveston is like. Okay, this is like an alley, in case you don't know. An alley is basically a pathway not meant for regular traffic that breaks up the block. Okay, I found the Martini. Yay! This building is actually, this white building right here on the corner was called the Martini, and this orange sign, you can't really, looks like they tore it down, but it used to say the Martini, and as you can tell, it was like an old movie theater. It's so cool. I got to see my first Grease movie when the first Grease movie came out in the 70s. I think it was the 70s. I saw it here with a double feature of the movie The Bug. How cool is that? I love that. I had the sign that would go up on the side that was like for the Martini, so you could tell it was a theater. Kind of cool. And here's a church. Neat looking church. We used to walk through this area here in this building. It's a pretty tall building for Galveston anyway. And here is Electric Service Galveston Division. And it says HL&P at the bottom. So the local utility company for electricity was called Houston Lighting and Power at one time, and this was their office. So it's a neat little sign, but they don't, it's not really a light company anymore. It looks like it's a law firm. The house that I was living in when I was a baby. So I'm just going to pull right over here so I could do a slow look at it. I'm going to creep up. Roll the window down so you can get a real good look. Yep, so this is the house that I was a little baby in. It's really big and it's just kind of gotten old. It's run down. I believe people are living in there, believe it or not. But the floors, my mom used to tell me the floors were wooden floors, and that I would be on this little dolly thing that you would lay flat on your belly. I couldn't walk at the time, and she said that I would just lay flat and then put my hands and arms out, and I would use those to move. So I would just kind of roll around on the floor and just slide around the corners like Evel Knievel or something. So I don't remember that, but that's kind of a memory that she told me about. Okay, so that's good enough. You'll see it's big. It goes on to over here on this side. I don't know the story, if we rented it, if my mom owned it or what, but that's that. The store right here with the little patio cover, I remember going to here, and I would get, I would take my glass bottles, and I would get 5 cents for returning those glass bottles. Right here, on this corner, this blue house is the house that I grew up on. See that? I'm just gonna pull over because I can. I remember that well. It was a gray house at the time. The stairs were all gray, and it used to be a swing on the porch. And my sister, I remember she was wearing flip-flops and went sliding down the stairs one day. And then here we have a neighbor. They have a peach and pomegranate tree just on our fence line. We used to eat those. And then we would have Miss Anderson. I can't remember if it was this house here or this one or the pink one. It was one of these couple that when she come home with groceries, we would put the groceries up for her, and she'd give us like 5 cents or a quarter. And this house right here was one of my high school friends, or well, elementary school friends' house. So yeah, a little bit of a funny story here. This place right here, they repainted their little bumper things where the cars go. And when I was a kid or a teenager, I sat on one of them. They were yellow. I had these gray corduroy pants, and it made my pants turn yellow. And my friend thought it was a good idea to wash them with bleach because they were brand new, and I didn't want my mom to get mad at me. So we did. And that was a mistake, because then I ended up with white spots all over my corduroys, and they got holes in them. Okay, so that's a story. And then right here is the Church of Christ. We used to walk to this on Sunday mornings to go to church. It's something I remember as a kid. This town has a lot of character, and I think if you're ever in this area, I highly recommend you come and just go take a tour. I mean, if anything, just go walking around. I mean, it's not a lot to do in the town, but here's that church. This is where my dad's funeral was as well. But we used to say we were going to go sit, kneel, stand, because that's what Catholics do. We were kids, we didn't really know much. And then over here, like I said, across the street is the Bishop's Palace. place for somebody to live. We're on Broadway now, which is the main, like, this is what Interstate 45 turns into. I'm gonna try to get over so we can head towards the south side of town, and then we'll go to the Seawall. There's that church again. I just wanted you to be able to see the Bishop's Palace and such. Everywhere I turn, I see something. So right here is Stephen F. Austin Middle School. This is the school I went to when I was a kid. We did 6th and 7th grade here, and then we did 8th grade at junior high school. See, it says Stephen F. Austin Middle School. When we were kids, my mom walked us through the route as she took us to school and how to get home from school. And I was in kindergarten, my sister was in 2nd grade, and on the way home it started raining. We totally got turned around and lost, didn't know where we were. But I remember one day, that day, I was in my pretty pink dress, and I was standing there, and I just remember looking up at this tall, so tall building. It was brick, and I was crying, and it was getting, the tears were getting mixed with the rain, and I was just so distraught because I was lost, and it was such a big building. And then as I got older, I realized where I was. This is where we were. Somehow we managed to get there from our elementary school, which I don't remember exactly where it's at. So that's a memory. But yeah, that is Stephen F. Austin Middle School. Still have my yearbooks. Here it is. Okay, and up here is the Seawall. It's the beach. And for those of you who don't know about Galveston, we call it the Seawall because, well, they built a wall for the sea. So when it rushes through, it doesn't just rush right onto land. There's a wall that breaks the water. So, yeah, there's a Pleasure Pier up here as well. It's like carnival on a pier. Kind of reminds me of, I think it's Chicago, where they have a Ferris wheel. Look at these old cars. Do is like go down a little further and turn around. And the sign says Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. There it is, Pleasure Pier. So I think I'm going to try to do a U-turn. It says no parking, pick up and drop off only, but I'm going to take a picture. So there it is. Up here on the right is the poop deck, popular spot in Galveston for the locals to go and have some drinks. But this is it. There's so much more to show you, but I'm out of memory space on my card.